Oh, God. Oh.
Attitudes are contagious. Our attitude is important because we take it from other people, depending on what kind of attitude it is. Good, positive, encouraging. That's a good thing to spread to everyone. But a negative attitude, a bad attitude, is not. You need to remove that. There are many things that are not contagious. Like, for example, skills, talent, experience. There's a long list of things that are not contagious. But attitude, that is very contagious. It spreads very easily. No matter what day it is, if it's in the morning, in the evening, if you're tired, how you handle that. Even if it happens, it's like a chain reaction. You know, for me, passing it on to another person. Or maybe if I give one person something and then it just goes all the way around.
That's a bit of it.
Yes, of course. What is attitude? Attitude is what we perceive. You know, when we see someone in our perspective, it's perspective. People have a good attitude and a bad attitude also. We see groups of those people in the Bible. It's shown in the Bible. And I'll tell you stories about that later. Good or bad, you can catch it. It's kind of like a cold. You get sick and you pass it on. And my family usually goes all the way through, all the way back. I'll get it, somebody else get it, and then we go on through. It's the same as attitude. Now we're going to study and compare the attitudes. People with unhealthy attitude. For example, Moses sent 12 spies to look and see if they were ready. 10 of the spies all were negative. Going on and on and on and on. Oh, all the bad things about that group of people in that area. But 2 of the spies were positive. Which do you think that Moses appreciated more? The 10 or the 2? They all went to the same place. And they all probably saw the same thing. Those 12 people. Don't talk more. I'm watching. Okay. 12. Sorry. 12. Those 12 are from the same group. The same tribes. Why did those 10? Why were they so negative? And the 2 were positive. So 10, they had a bad attitude. Moses didn't want all bad news. You know, he wanted some good news. Like if you go someplace and you say, hey, and you say the good parts, but they do have some bad parts. But all say the whole thing is negative. It's like you're complaining. What's the positive part? You need to find some good and some bad. And then it's good to know both of them. But look for the good more than the bad. So there was 12 and the 10. Were they Christians? They were all Christians. They were all sent by God. Moses told them to send 12 spies for him. So Moses did what God told him to do. So they knew. You remember when Moses was going to Israel? How many people was with Moses? Remember from Egypt. Going from Egypt. It was 1 million. So 12 out of 1 million. Those were special. They were chosen to go and look around and then bring back news to Moses. So the 10, they were negative. For 1 million people. You know, they're thinking, I know that seems 1 million people, that's a lot out of 10. But 10 is too much for 1 million. Like, for example, the president, there's one president for all those people. If the president did something negative, it affects all of us. So if it's positive, like a football game, everybody's eager and excited, and they're, you know, they score and they're encouraging. But if they make a mistake, they're like, oh, boo, boo. It affects everyone. And it's my husband watched son of a game. It was such a close game. Like after they lost, everybody was just so sad. So that attitude really was contagious. And WBI, I have it on my Facebook. They said they lost, but they still did a good job. And I'm like, all right. That was the positive out of a negative situation. It was kind of funny a woman talking about football. Okay, so that's 2 spies that brought back the positive were Joshua and Caleb. Who's Joshua? Do you remember Joshua? Who is Joshua? It was Moses' assistant. And Caleb is the one that helped. One of the good spies. Okay. There was a group of people that were angry at those two that brought positive comments. They actually wanted to stone them. Because the 2 of them had different answers than the other 10. So those unbelievers and not doing what God wanted made God angry. And it shows that we have to be careful with our attitudes. Because God can get angry with us for our attitudes, whatever the situation is, making us like. And you know that there's certain people or certain situations that cause us to be steaming. But this church is open for anyone. No matter if there's attitudes. I don't want that person here. That's not up to us. It's up to God. God doesn't want that person here, then when God will show that to that person. But we can prevent that person's salvation, or we might destroy that person's perspective of how Christians act. So we need to help each other, encourage each other, no matter if we have a past issue or if we have problems with that person in the past. We need to talk to Thomas, talk to me, talk to another person that you feel comfortable about. Talk about it. Get it out. Forgive that person or confront that person and then share your concerns, your problems, and try to solve that problem, because that can affect everyone, all of us. It's like dirty water. Dirty water will make us sick if we drink it, right? It's the same as Jesus. Dirty water will make Jesus sick also. So us as Christians, we need to watch, because if we have one drop, you know, like food color, you have a clear glass of water and you put one drop of food color, the whole glass becomes red, right? Just one drop, and that's it. That's all it takes. And that dirty water can happen with gossip. That makes really a lot of sense. Rebelling against a leader, talking negative about them, complaining behind their back about that leader, that can spread. Criticism with bad attitude. Criticize in a kind way. It can be done. You can, if you see a mistake, say, hey, come over here. I saw what you said to that person, and oh, that wasn't good. You know, maybe you might want to say it like this, or say it a better way. Or, like a few months ago, a friend of mine, can you help Thomas? And they said, Thomas got mad at her. But when Thomas preached before, he preaches better now because of that person, because that person helped him improve. But that person told him, stop saying me and mine and I. Thomas was like, no, I don't say that. Then I got to thinking about it, and I know he always says that. I will roll up my sleeves. Oh. And he was saying, we will roll up our sleeves. Or he will make me to do and say him better. Other than me, I, and mine. So we work together, and because it's dangerous for a pastor can make it look like it's all on himself instead of God, and make himself become kind of like God. And the person know that he was just a young pastor and not really understanding, but he didn't take offense to it all. And the other person says, oh, I told you what I said? Oh, no, why? But no, I'm glad that you told Anna, and I'm glad that you told me, because I realized that I do say that. So, it helped a lot. Yeah, and sometimes you do need help. Sometimes, you know, if we make mistakes and nobody tells us, and people are like, oh, I'm not going to be around that person, how are we supposed to know? You know, why will people not be around me? I don't know. Nobody tells me. I'm really tired of it. If nobody tells us, then we'll continue to make that same mistake, and we don't know. That's why it's dangerous for a pastor to focus on myself and not focus on God. And the Bible says, take criticism, don't be a fool not to take it. It's in Proverbs. Take criticism, accept it. Don't be a fool to reject it. Because sometimes good criticism helps us. Not only him, but all of us. It helps us to grow. They might need salvation. This is their life. And, you know, we're like, oh, gosh, with God, because God came to us and said, you know, you prevented that person to come into your church, and they were coming for salvation. So think about that. Church is not an exception. Church is not an exception. You know, outside in the real world and here in church, this also happens. There is dirty water here. How do you notice when those kinds of people come in? People say that they pretend to be God's leaders. Like, I'm a leader. I'm teaching, I'm praying, worship, singing God's word. But when I go home, I behave different. I sin at home. When I come to church and I'm all smile, go home and I live another life. I come to church and I live another life. That's an example that people pretend to be God leaders. And people who know, like for example, he's a pastor. He knows what we're doing at home, but still sometimes he lets me in church. Then he is also guilty. It doesn't matter if he's not doing the behavior, but he knows what I'm doing when I'm not supposed to be doing it. And then I come to church and he's letting me. Then he's also guilty. It's called conspiracy. More like conspiracy, because if I know what's going on and I just let it go on, or let's say the two of you are partying out together or something, and then come to church and like, oh, all smiles and everything. Well, this is just an example. That can affect someone else. Like, oh, come on over to my house. And the next thing you know, 6 people are in sin and in trouble, doing things they shouldn't be doing. It's called dirty water. You know, for me to be going on and on and on here and then go home and do something else, if you know that this is the way I live and you still listen to me, then you all are guilty too. You know, I know that she's really not a Christian that lives the way she should, but I'm still going to listen to what she says. That's maybe if I know that you're sinning, maybe I need to still help you. Maybe, yes, you can be helpful, but he needs to do something. He would be responsible to getting me out of the position I'm in. It can be temporary, but maybe, you know, a few months and then be out of that position. Maybe I might need help or whatever, and then come back. Because this is a place where second chances happen. You can't just reject someone forever. You can't. And we can try to work with someone. Just like here, we give somebody a chance and it didn't work. But we're going to move on and then hope that there's success later. All of those it's not really up to us to have an attitude. It's kind of like judge. It's not up to us to do that. We can't do that. We need to give a person a chance. And if that doesn't work, then there's nothing else we can do. Just to be quiet. Don't say, oh, did you see that? Did you see that? See that? That's not up to us to do that. That's right. There's 3 people waiting. Go ahead. You know, that this person had an anger issue. Maybe it's better for you to be with that person directly. With a witness. With a witness. With a witness. Yeah. You mean not coming to the leader? Or maybe you ask another leader, can you come with me to talk to that person? So 2 people are better. You know, like if I want to ask you, why did you do this? Or why did you do that? And I saw it. Maybe the other person come. And I just come to help you. And then you explain it, and I'm there. And then if they're guilty, then they should ask you for forgiveness or whatever. In private. I remember there's a verse that says, that first go to that person if you have a problem and explain that person. And then if they can't listen to me, go to a second person and have them come with you. And if that doesn't work, then have a third person. If that doesn't work, that's what the Bible says. But I suggest you take a witness with me, because when you go one-on-one with that person, sometimes it's a mess. So I do suggest that maybe you could be one-on-one with that person or with a witness. For example, if a woman goes and talks to a man pastor alone, that's not good. It should be fine if you're leader to leader, but it's better if you're a woman and you want to meet with a pastor. It's better to be with another woman too. It's more safe. Like a man, maybe let's say you want to talk to him, that's fine. But sometimes it's better to have another man present. It just depends on the situation. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes you can be without. But for a woman, it's a little tougher. I remember a situation that happened a few years ago. That a person had a relationship with another person, and something happened, and then the church group felt like that person should have confronted everyone and apologized, even though she didn't do anything to any of them. It was just between the two of them. It was just completely between the two of them. But the rest of the people thought that she should apologize to the rest of them, which made no sense. I said no. That problem is between the two of them. It is not any of their business. They don't need to know what's going on between the two of them. That is their problem. If they feel like that they're affected by it, then I'm sorry. It's between the two of them. It's difficult. And then when they apologize, then they think that there's something wrong with them. When they say I'm sorry, then it's kind of making them feel like there's something wrong. It's their flesh. If behavior affected them, then yes. And they come to church and cause problems, then yes, we should apologize. But really, no, it's between the two of them. It wasn't us. One person, if somebody just looks at me like there's something wrong, like they've done something to me, sometimes I start to imagine things. And sometimes it's really nothing to do with me. And, I just have to kind of overlook it. And then think, oh gosh, what did I do? What did I do? And something's wrong. And really, it was absolutely nothing at all. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it really does happen. I do that sometimes with my husband, often. Sometimes I'll think, oh, is he mad at me? He just had a complete no expression on his face. He comes home with no expression. I think, are you mad? No, I'm not mad. Because he tends to hold everything in. Are you mad? No, I'm not mad. 15 minutes later, are you mad? No, I'm not mad. And then again, I'll say, are you mad? And yes, I'm mad. Sometimes he tends to hold things in, and I keep aggravating him, and he says, yes, I am mad. So from my experience, I'm like, come on, tell me. And I'm mad because you I'm guilty of that too. But understand, sometimes I have perspectives of other people, and I have doubts. It's tough. I do that. I tend to do that. Or always like, oh no, what do I do? For her, when we have perspective, sometimes I'm like, oh, what do they think about me? And it doesn't matter. God knows. And God knows more. We know that. Tony says men are built to be tough. Like, or truck is built tough. Men are built to be tough. And not all of them. Not all of them. Well, sometimes you can have expressions and think that you're serious and you're just teasing. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were mad at me. And I'm like, no. sometimes expressions you get misunderstood. Sometimes he has false expressions. Well, I think men are born that way. But for me, I'm very sensitive. You know, I'm not as tough as you. I know, Scott. Okay, I have a little bit more. This is talking about, is an example to make you all think about it. When you see someone in a group that's at a function and they go and they eat, they have fun, and then something happens. Do you go home satisfied? Or do you go home feeling, I wish that didn't happen? If you feel like, I wish that hadn't have happened, that's when you know that you need to change it. If you go home and you feel satisfied, that's positive. But you have to think, when I go home, did I do something good? Sometimes that happened to me last week. Something happened. And I got home and I thought, no, I don't like what happened last night. And he says, I know. So we need to do something to change it. And he says, I know. Yes, we do need to. So I went through it, I made changes, and I felt bad. Because if we don't do something to change it, then it's going to bother you for a long, long time. It's easy to be like, with an attitude, but it's hard to say, I am. Just like it's easy for me to eat, but not easy for me to be on a diet.